Please rise and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening, everybody. I'd like to just start tonight by welcoming our newest board member, Dawn Marie. She will be beginning with us at our first meeting in July when she'll be sworn in, but just wanted to welcome you today and thanks for being here. And obviously with anybody, just introduce yourselves. So, okay, we will move on to the good news report. Deanne.
Good evening. It's great to be with everybody again tonight to share the good news going on in the Sioux Falls School District. And I'll start by sharing some information about the original programming that we are able to share with our stakeholders at the Sioux Falls School District during the past school year. So from about this time last year until today, we have approximately 169 original videos that have been posted on the Sioux Falls School District's YouTube channel. I actually call this the Ben Schumacher channel because it's really a repository of all the work, and Ben is joining us today. I thought it was a great opportunity since he met you just before this meeting to take your photos for our board member publications and such, to invite Ben in to highlight some of his work. Also, recently, Tori Stolen has been adding to that list, and Tori's in the back room making this broadcast go live. So we appreciate both of their work. But as I said, the district's YouTube channel is really a library of the programs. It's a digital record of the district's past. So 169 original programs in the last 365 days, plus 55 videos that are unlisted. Unlisted videos might be such things as training, might be safety and security items that we're sharing with our employees so they have the information about how to proceed should there be a situation in one of our buildings. There's a lot of professional development where our special education folks are learning something new, and Ben does a ton of work for that. So 200, and I know that's not 225, it's 224, but after tonight, when we post this video again, there will be 225 videos up on that page. We have over 9,400 people that subscribe to our YouTube channel, so that's a great way for us to communicate and share our information with the public. Those 169 videos, just want to give you some perspective there. They are featuring all of our activities in our classrooms, our exceptional teachers, all stars that we name routinely throughout the school years that are nominated by their peers, maybe custodians, secretaries, our lunch folks, EAs, everybody under the sun. And so we're really grateful to be able to showcase the work of the people in the Sioux Falls School District who make us what we are. While we are proud of the quality, or the quantity, I should say, we're also proud of the quality. And that's what I think matters the most. It's engaging videos that Ben puts together, and they're aired most often on K-Learn TV, our district cable access channel, which can be found on Midco Cable Channel 20 or 595. And we continuously broadcast programming on K-Learn, so we encourage folks to watch that. One of the big draws this time of year at K-Learn is the rebroadcasts of our graduation ceremonies. You all participated in those this year. Since they were posted just a few weeks ago, each of our 4 high schools has more than 1,600 views of their graduation ceremonies. So that tells us that friends and family are super excited to be able to have that available to them so they can go back and watch their graduate walking across the stage. 4 days ago, Ben posted a video to cap off the 22-23 school year, and it currently has 227 views. He came up with an idea all his own. He said, hey, how about if I get a whiteboard and I ask students to send a thank you message to staff members who made an impact on their lives. I'm just going to show you about 2 minutes of this video.
I don't know, keep on giving. For your kindness, I'm in debt to you. For your selflessness, my admiration. For everything you've done, you know I'm bound to thank you for it. You've been so kind and generous. I don't know how you keep on giving. For your kindness, I'm in debt to you. And I never could have come this far without you. For everything you've done, you know I'm bound to thank you for it.
I think you can get the image. And again, on the craziness of graduation day, when Ben is videotaping and orchestrating other student workers that are with him to help him out that day, he took the initiative to go the extra mile, get those whiteboards, and then capture all of those great messages. And a link to the video, that video was sent to each of the teachers' names whose name appeared on that video so that they could have that for their record as well. So just think of the wonderful impact that would have had after you say your final farewells and you think you've sent off the class of 2023 into the year, and to see that one more time and to feel the appreciation and the emotion. And that's something Ben was able to catch for us. We're also thrilled with the number of views that we've had on a 10-minute video that we sent to all parents. Dr. Stavum talked about our district priorities and the progress we've made in the last 365 days on those priorities. So we sent those out to our families. We've posted on LinkedIn and all of our social channels. So I just want to share the first brief couple of minutes of that video as well.
I'm Dr. Jane Stavum, the proud superintendent of the Sioux Falls School District. The 22-23 school year was one of great opportunities. I invite you to spend a few moments with me as I share updates on the important work happening in your public schools. The district priorities document serves as our roadmap and keeps us on track to achieve our goals and make improvements in 5 key priority areas that were identified when I first arrived 3 years ago. These areas are academic success, student and staff well-being, community engagement, staff excellence, and the effective use of resources. As a measure of accountability, I'd like to walk you through some of our work this school year. Sioux Falls supports its public schools in so many meaningful ways, and we think it's essential that you know how we're using our resources in classrooms, developing the leaders of tomorrow. So let's start with our why. Every one of our 24,000 students has incredible potential, and every day our staff shows up to help each child learn, grow, explore, and discover their passion. Recognizing that the needs of children are constantly changing, the Sioux Falls School District began implementing a framework known as a multi-tiered system of supports, or MTSS, last year. So what does that mean? It means that we're helping all students to take ownership of their learning through goal setting and progress monitoring. At the same time, teachers use information from student work and assessments to determine what kind of instruction and interventions are needed to help a child succeed. You can think of it as personalized learning for each child. If a student struggles in a specific area, this practice allows us to respond with intentional support. This takes additional training for teachers, and I'm proud to say that we are making progress in helping students meet their academic and behavioral goals. We've also had a successful start to several new programs. Our Ag
And hopefully that will just tempt you to go watch the remaining 8 minutes of that video. But again, it really allows us to capture what's going on in the Sioux Falls School District, and our small staff is able to push out lots of valuable content. We encourage all stakeholders to spend a little time consuming that information, whether on social media, YouTube, K-Learn, wherever you are at, hopefully you can find it. And speaking of good work going on in our classrooms, you may recall last meeting, Sarah Newitt was here. She was an 8th grade student from Memorial Middle School, and she shared her documentary about Ruby Bridges that she is presenting at National History Day. I wanted to give you a very timely update. Late last week, Sarah was notified that her project was accepted to be shown. It was competitively selected to be shown at the Oprah Winfrey Theater at Smithsonian's National Museum of African American History and Culture. That will happen in 2 days, this Wednesday at noon and at 4 p.m. Her family is with her in Washington, D.C. right now, and her mom has agreed to capture it all and send it back to us so that we can share it with our stakeholders as well. And you might recall she had a very well-researched and well-reported documentary titled Ruby Bridges, How One 6-Year-Old Became a Frontier in History. So quite an honor for her and also for her parents, both of whom are teachers in the Sioux Falls School District. So any questions for me at this time?
No questions, but I just want to thank Ben again for getting me to almost cry once again over graduation. So I probably will not go watch the whole video because just kidding. But no, I thank you, Ben, for all the work that you do. I think every video I've seen has just got such high quality. Sorry, I can't see you. High quality. It's just such high quality, and it just makes it look like it's professionally done, and it is because it's done by you. And I know that you love the school district, and you certainly show it off with every production you make. So thank you.
Ben is the Morgan Freeman voice of the district. If you've ever watched a video and heard this like calming, like just peaceful voice, so I love it. So thank you. I also appreciate all the videos. I think it's so engaging, and it's for the people who can't be in a classroom. They can feel like they've been in a classroom and they can observe things and really see the excellence that's going on. So thank you for giving us that inside view.
Yeah. Thank you, Dan. All right, moving on to the agenda. Item 4, approval of minutes of meeting held on 5/22. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to persons wishing to address the school board. We have one person on a non-agenda topic. Please come up and state your name and address. Maria, and I'm sorry, I'm going to mispronounce your name, Agrawal. Okay. Mine's difficult too, so it's okay.
I get it a lot. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Maria Agrawal. My address is on file with the school board business manager. Thank you for this opportunity to address you today. My purpose this evening is to respectfully ask that this board refrain from verbally prompting members of the public to state their home address before speaking on non-agenda items, and to update school board meeting governance policy BEDH for clarity and completeness. District policy BEDH states that persons wishing to address the board must sign up before the meeting with the business manager, giving name, address, and topic. In another section addressing general decorum at meetings, policy states that anyone addressing the board must give name and address. Parents who have recently sought clarity on the board's request that speakers verbally state home address have heard from district personnel that the purpose is to, quote, allow other community members, either at the meeting or online, to know who is speaking and to note it for public record, end quote. Assuming all sign-up sheets and other notes and other documents related to a school board meeting are subject to document retention policies, there is a public record of my address as it relates to my comments on a topic before a school board meeting is even called to order. The district continues, quote, nevertheless, respecting that some individuals may not feel comfortable sharing this information, it is recommended but not required that a speaker state their address when addressing the board, end quote. If this is the case, the public should, at a minimum, be made aware of the option ahead of the comment section at each meeting, and policy BEDH should be updated. I would go one step further and ask, since the business manager has already made a public record of home address at this time of sign-up, why are people prompted to state it at all? I began listening to Sioux Falls School Board meetings on YouTube last summer to become more in tune with district happenings. During the public comment section of the meetings, I have appreciated listening to other parents and community members I might not have otherwise encountered. Early this spring, when I began considering speaking in this forum on my Chromebook and YouTube concerns, I started paying more attention to the mechanics of the public comment section of the meeting. While I don't find my concerns contentious or political, one never knows how others will react. I therefore felt uncomfortable that I would be asked to state my home address before speaking, not knowing how my remarks would be received by people in this room or listening online. Around the same time, I was in attendance at the March 27th school board meeting, at which a large number of gymnastic supporters were present. I was dismayed to see the minor children who stood up to speak be asked to state their home addresses. I wondered who might come across the video of that school board meeting online and make note of a child's address. You just never know. Children learn about internet safety in school and that they shouldn't post identifying details online, yet they are asked to publicly state their home address at school board meetings, and as a result, anyone on YouTube can connect their faces with names and addresses. After the March meeting, I consulted the policies that govern public comment at these meetings, Sioux Falls Policy BEDH and South Dakota Open Meetings Law SDCL 1251. I ultimately contacted the State Attorney General's office just to clarify. Can school boards compel members of the public to state home address as a condition of speaking in a limited public forum? The responding attorney replied with his personal legal opinion and not that of the South Dakota AG's office, and advised that, under South Dakota law, public bodies have the authority to impose reasonable requirements on an open meeting. He also encouraged me to bring any concerns I may have to my school board and its council. I later learned, to my relief, that this board will not insist that members of the public verbally state their home address. In my opinion, it is not reasonable to ask members of the public to verbally state their home address before speaking on non-agenda items. It's a superfluous request, and as you might infer from my personal example, it can be intimidating and a potential barrier to engaging with elected officials. At the end of the day, people generally have a good faith relationship with their schools, and they do as they're asked without asking many questions in return. This is demonstrated almost every time this board asks people to verbally state their home address. In addition to clearing up any confusion, I believe refraining from asking members of the public to verbally state their home address upon taking the podium, along with updating district policy, would be encouraging for those who may be hesitating about speaking in this forum, and applauded by those who are concerned for public safety. Thanks for hearing my concerns, and I hope you have a great rest of your summer.
Thank you very much. All right, moving on to item 7, approval of the agenda. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. We did not have any conflicts of interest. So moving on to item 9, approval of the consent agenda. Can I get a motion and a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Moving on to item 10, supplemental consent agenda. A, approval of claims to Sanford Health. Can I get a motion in a second, please?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That passes with one abstention from Board Member Ryder. And on to the reports of the superintendent. Dr. Stavum.
Yep, I'll introduce all 4 of our reports tonight while Dr. Knoll gets his slides up. First is a required update for our Continue to Learn plan. That's required as part of the yearly 6-month, I believe it's every 6 months or so, review of our Continue to Learn plan. And while COVID is largely in our rearview mirror, these requirements remain in place. So we'll go over just some brief updates to that. Then we have a report from School Bus Inc. And I asked them to come after we did an end of the year review because they've been working really hard. And after some of the challenges we had at the beginning of the year, I think it's great to come back around to that and hear how things are going at the end of the year. After that, we have a couple of public hearings that we need to do for some required state approvals. And then we will move into executive session. So with that, I will turn it over to Dr. Knoll.
Good evening. I bring back to you the biannual report, and that is the purpose of tonight's report, is to present that biannual update to our Continue to Learn plan. After this evening's update, I believe we have 2 more times as part of the requirement of the law to be able to bring those updates to you. So part of this process is we do go through and continue to update anytime there's changes in the CDC or we have our biannual update and we go through to be able to update, and we are doing this now for the 23-24 school year. This information was sent forward to the committee, and it was done this time again via electronic. And so individuals were able to update that information and send it back in. It was reviewed as a group. And then the document that you have as the updated red line version. Once the report is done, we will update and send that new version out online for the public. And so this is the update for the 23-24 school year. The significant changes that you will see as you go through the document are truly on all the pages. We went through and updated the school year. And then any of the links that were required to be in connection there. And we try to make sure that we go and do that 2 times a year biannually. There's also on page number 2, the pages will be updated as soon as we go through the report this evening and are able to take out those red lines. Page 8, we use the same device for all grades. That was deleted because we do not. And we go through and use different devices depending on the grade level. And we've implemented that so that we can also utilize that this upcoming year, potentially, if we need to send devices home for the students. So that information was updated. On page 9, the remote learning homework and meal delivery was taken out of there. We have a lot of different ways to be able to deliver that now, not necessarily the meals, but we found that that was probably much more effective at school sites and locations in the delivery method. And then also the homework will be delivered electronically if that was needed. And so that is updated on page 9. On page 14, our partnership of student success section was deleted because a lot of that is our after-school programming now will change. And so our partnership in that with the city, that will change. And we'll have our after-school programming that will be taking effect this next year. So that was on page 14. Page 15 through 17 was the most significant changes in this document, and we really updated that based on the new LMS that we have. And our learning management system is now with Canvas, and our staff went through that training, and we'll utilize that through this upcoming year. And that'll really make it so that it's a one-stop shop for our families to be able to go to. So whether it's elementary, middle school, or high school, it won't be a separate LMS for each one of those levels. It'll truly be that one that they can go to and find the work that they would need if we go into this type of a learning mode. And then pages 27 through 28 were the updates to the ESSER funding allocations. You had heard about a lot of those updates as we went through the budget process and that budgetary outline that we had for you, but we update them in this document as well so that it can be seen out there in the ESSER report. So those are truly the changes that we went through and made. The document went from 126 pages when we first started, actually 160 some, down to 130 and then 126, and now we're down to about, I don't know, 26, somewhere in there. And so the document does change as we go through this process, but we keep it in place. We can go back and access any one of those if ever needed. And so we keep them all listed online there for people's review, but also in case we were to need those. So this evening, I bring those updates to you. It is our scheduled update, and we will do this every 6 months. The next update will come in December, more than likely. And the administrative recommendation is to acknowledge the presented 23-24 Continue to Learn, our C2L plan, updates as proposed. And I'd stand by for any questions you may have.
Dr. Arnold, I just have a question with the Canvas, which is great. I'm glad it's going to be one instead of 3 different levels, online access for families. But will there, I know there's training for the staff, will there be some type of informational for parents? Because I know, like, every time I had to learn a new thing, it was always a pain. So it's like, is there a way we're going to send this information to parents so they can learn how to access it?
We should have had this report before we did the good news, because we'd probably rely a lot on, well, he's gone.
Yeah.
Ben and individuals like that, where we can send out a lot of that information. And Dr. Boyson and her team are working on those things to be able to get that out to the parents, to make that easier, along with other information that we will send out to them. But yes. And we'll go through, and in the implementation, the teachers will not be fully implemented on the first day, but they have their resources that they need to be able to start using it on day one. And we'll obviously roll that out to the parents so that they would be able to access all the information on there as well. They'll still utilize Infinite Campus to be able to look at a lot of those things, but for the learning tool, the curriculum, and things that they can get from the teacher, everybody will be using that same platform, which will make it so much easier. So yes, there will be information coming out to parents as well.
Any other questions, Dr. Knoll? All right, thank you. Seeing none, can I get a motion and a second to approve the Continue to Learn report?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That passes. Moving on to the school link update. Come on, folks.
Myself off. Warren, come on up, and I know you have some guests with you as well, so if you would introduce them and we'll get your
Absolutely.
slides
I
transition.
want to thank everybody for allowing us to come and talk to you tonight. It's really nice to be able to talk about successes. And with that, I want to introduce just a few people that we have here, because without them, we wouldn't be able to make these things happen. So I'll start with Connie Teason, who's right here, has been with School Bus Inc. since 1980. Amongst the 3 of them, there's 117 years actually of service to this community. Susan Anderson, she's been with School Bus Inc. actually 2 different times, but consistently since 1988 for 36 years. And Dwayne Versteeg since 1985 for 38 years. We have a number of people that are like this that have served with SBI for well over 20 years, but I just wanted to bring you 3 exceptional examples of the staff that we have there and that make my job easier. They're a great group of people to work with. So.
Now I'm going to have you pause just 1 second, and while you're doing that, I'd like to give our staff members a hand for those years of service, because that's amazing. Andrew, are you able to assist in our external content security alert situation?
I'll just mention that Dwayne dresses up like Santa Claus every year to drive his bus. He's got the beard. It looks great. There might actually even be a picture of that in the slideshow.
And I'm sure none of your hair color has anything to do with students on buses. None of it. Okay, good.
I would imagine it keeps you young.
He definitely keeps him on his toes.
Yeah. Yay, good job.
All right.
Thanks, Dan.
So just to start out, we've almost completely turned over our office staff from what it was when the new company purchased School Bus Inc. We've built I feel like a pretty good team there, and I just wanted to introduce a couple of them. One of them is our transportation manager, Patrick Reinhardt. He came to us from Colorado, from Fort Collins, and has done a great job in working with Missy and helping with school bus discipline, things like that, and has also helped with the drivers with that consistent hand in there that's always involved in making things better and safer on our buses. Not here tonight is Gary Stewart. He's our training and safety coordinator. He's got a history in customer service and management, and he's also a pilot, and has been a pilot actually for about 30 years. He has been a great addition to our training team and is now leading that team. He was actually one of our trainers and then became the training coordinator. We have with us, we've hired a new accounting and dispatch team. Our accountant, she was a Sioux Falls School District student. She went on to the Army, did 2 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and then came back and went into transportation, payroll, and that's what she's been doing this last several years. We hired her this last winter. Jalen, Deanna, and Isaac. Isaac is also I think a 2019 graduate of I think it was Lincoln. No, not Lincoln. I can't remember, but he was a graduate of our schools here. A few months ago, we sent out a survey to the district. Some of you may have received it. We had somebody from transportation actually completed the survey and submit it. And one of the things that we like to do, and we did this at every one of our sites in our company, is anything that scores below a 7, we want to respond to it, build an action plan. And I just kind of want to speak to a few of the points that are in there. One of the things is we were rated on was on the well-maintained fleet, and that was rated at a 6 out of 10. And I just wanted to speak to our fleet and to the buses in general. The average age of a bus at SBI is 7 years old. The average age of a bus in the United States and fleets and districts across the country is over 9. One of the things we did this year is we implemented a 90-day inspection. Every one of our buses is seen multiple times throughout the year, even if nothing happens with it. It gets pulled into the shop, its brakes get checked. You know, all of the safety features that are associated would get checked. The emergency windows are checked 4 times a year, various things like that. So this is something that we did implement. We had a DOT audit, which is not uncommon for contractors. We went through that last summer. We were rated satisfactory. We've also made a significant investment into our fleet maintenance capability. We've got a combined years of experience of about 70 years amongst our mechanics. We hired a shop foreman. It was a lot of work to get him here. He come from the very southernmost point of Texas in Brownsville. So this last winter was kind of a shock to him. I don't even think he'd seen snow before. But he has 22 years of school bus experience, 11 years of that as a supervisor down in South Texas. He's a master technician in the state, certified as a master technician, school bus technician in Texas, as well as he's just became a state inspector, so he can inspect all of our buses and show that they're all safe. Another new hire with us is Jimmy Callahan. He's also from here in Sioux Falls. He's got 30 years of heavy truck experience. He was about half of that time it was in the United States Army. So he's got a well-rounded background that has helped us be more successful and get things done. It allows us to do a lot more things in-house instead of having to send things out, which actually makes us a little bit more efficient. One of the other things that's also important is maintaining an adequate workforce. This was also scored at a 6. I think that was definitely obvious in the beginning of the year. One of the problems that you have when you can't maintain a good workforce and have drivers on is you're going to be late a lot, and you're going to have challenges getting things done. And we've improved the turnover. The turnover was in 21-22 is 61.5%. 22-23 was, I ran it at 66%, but once I took retirements and things like that out, it is actually at 73%. We've increased our staffing from 188 to 206 staff members. That's drivers, aides, mechanics, all the various positions that we have over there. One of the things some of the things that we try to do to help keep our people coming back is every year when they come back, they get a 5% bonus. 5% of whatever they earned the previous year, they've got that waiting for them as long as they come back and start that next school year. We have a great annual Christmas party that we invest quite a bit into trying to make it a really great time for them. We do a lot of recognition awards for our staff, and we've made significant site improvements since we've been there as well. One of the things just in here, if you can see that on your screen there, 81% of districts reported not being able to find enough school drivers to fill their needs. More than half of those surveyed categories the shortage is either severe or desperate. One of the things I did when I was kind of getting ready for this was took a look around the region, within a couple hundred miles of here. And in Omaha, they cut school bus transportation for over 2,000 students because they couldn't get drivers. In Rochester, they're not able to transport special activities because they don't have enough school bus drivers. But this year, we were not only able to do all that as we got into spring. This year, there was far more activity trips than we had in previous year. As we got to get further away from COVID, I expect that would happen. But we were able to manage those things and those challenges. I just wanted to share this picture. If you guys can see it, this is just some of the things that we do. You'll see pictures of the little kids there with the bicycles. This is something that we do to try to get their parents to come in and fill out applications, but giving away bicycles to these little kids. There's a couple of the parties that we've had. There's Dwayne in his Santa suit in there. But we do a lot of different stuff to try to get people, to employ people, but also to try to keep them. We do a lot of things where we're involved with the community. The picture on the top left is actually our trainer, Gary. He participates in a program called Honor Flight, where we pick up veterans that come in from around the state. They fly in here, and we take them around the community to take care of various things. We've been active in the other organizations that are on here: Sioux Falls Education Foundation, Coats for Kids. The Ronald McDonald House is something we just started doing this year. We're always involved in the parades and things like that that are going on, as well as sponsoring sports teams. As far as setting safety standards, that was another one that was also rated at a 6. Hiring and the training and safety coordinator, we modified that position to become a safety coordinator. We have weekly safety meetings with our safety manager, our corporate safety manager, when it comes to accidents and incidents, so we can go over there and action plan those things, make sure that if the driver's no longer able to actually do it, we remove them from that position. We don't want to have unsafe people out on the road. We started conducting driver evaluations, so when our trainers don't have a route that they're assigned to, they actually go and ride with drivers and evaluate them, and then we'll make corrections based on those things. One of the things, I had a conversation with Dave Osterquist a few months ago while I was over at Oscar Howe, and I agree with him with this. The Z-Pass has been a very, very good thing when it comes to improving the safety here. Missy gave an example during our meeting about a student at Rosa Parks that they couldn't find. They called in, and we were able to see that this student had scanned on and off the bus at particular locations. These things are all very, very good for us as far as safety goes. We can quickly find, especially with the little ones, where they get on and off the bus. And they're actually the best ones at using the Z-Pass too, is the pre-K through 6th grade. So it's been a very good thing. Technology, that was a big thing this year, as all of you know. And for the most part, all of these things are implemented and being used. We worked with a work group throughout the year, meeting weekly for a while, then bi-weekly, to make sure that all of the problems and the challenges were rectified. And one of our goals for next year is with the Stop Finder app, the parent app, is to get it up to 40% of our eligible riders. It was at 36.5% at the end of the school year. So we want to get that up. About 20% of those people are logging in, though, every day and using that app, whether it's the kids or their parents. And if there's a problem with it, we hear about it, because some of the parents will definitely let me know. Bus bulletin is another new thing that we're hoping to implement for next year. We're already using it to contact and speak to our drivers, and that is a way for us to send messages directly to parents instead of going through the school, which will save time. It'll help out your front office staff as well. When a bus is running behind, we can send the message directly out to the parent. And that will hopefully be ready to go. Bus Hive is something new that we're working on. That's field trips off the just some fun facts. Annual school bus miles, 1,225,000. If you look at that map, that is our daily commute with all of our school buses. That's how far we drive every day. When you take the total miles, 7,700 miles per day in our buses, delivering about 1.3 million students annually. So that's riders getting on and off the bus. So it's a pretty busy day for all of us. This is, I think, probably the most important thing for everybody here. We started the year with on-time performance as low as in the 80s. The first quarter average was 93%, second quarter 96%, third quarter was at 95%. We had a lot of snow and delays through that time. And then the fourth quarter, we hit 98%. That was all through the ability to get the technology working appropriately, and being able to hire good drivers, and all of those things are thanks to the commitment that you guys have made to giving us the tools that we need to do it. So it's I think it's been a very successful year in making improvements and adjustments and getting things where they need to be. And that's all I got. So, any questions?
Any questions? I appreciate you taking the time to update us. You know, we obviously had you earlier in the year, and it was right. It was kind of appropriate. There, I think there were some parents actually complaining, or we had received a letter at the same time, so it was appropriate. And we're obviously working on improvements, and what you're doing, we really, really do appreciate, because it's important for us to provide this service to our families, and with that service, we want excellent service, obviously.
Absolutely.
And so we see you striving to do that. So thank you very much, and thank you to all of you as well. And, help him to us.
All right, thank you.
Hopefully next winter you don't navigate 6-foot snowdrifts.
Yeah, exactly.
I hope that. I hope for that as well.
I was just going to add that I think it's so important in any business, whether it's our school district, whether it's a hospital, whether it's a bookstore, it doesn't matter, that the people who work there feel valued and that they feel like they're invested in. And I think that you gave some really great examples of things that you might not expect for just a bus driver. It's so important that they are not just a bus driver. They are the first smile that a kid might see when they get on the bus. They might be the person who gives them a hug. They might be the person who picks up their lunch that they drop. I mean, the importance of them in every kid's life is so big. And so helping them to understand that and be appreciative of that and know that they really do matter. We don't just want someone who can drive a bus. We want someone who cares. And I feel like the different activities, whether it's the annual Christmas party or getting together and doing volunteer, those are all team building things that make people feel valued and know that their work is important. And so I really appreciate those aspects of the things that have been implemented, because that's going to help us to have continuity and consistency year after year of bus drivers, which, I mean, kids get so excited when they see that bus driver, and to know that they might get to see them year after year after year on that same route is just a great relationship. So thank you for the efforts of putting those things of employee satisfaction into place, because that ultimately is a trickle down to the quality that we can provide in a service to our families too. So thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I just want to make a couple of comments. You know, we have a unique relationship with school busing because they are a contracted service with the district, which is different even than nutrition services and some of the other things that we do as part of the daily life of our school district. And so we're all collectively responsible for how well that goes, because it's the experience of our kids and families that we care about. And it's frustrating sometimes on both sides of that because of workforce issues, and some of the things post-COVID have been made, you know, things more difficult than they were even prior to that. But the tenacity is what I'm very appreciative of and pleased with, because we've seen other districts recently just dump a company in hopes that maybe another company will fill that role better. You know, the reduction of routes, all those things that we had hoped we wouldn't need to do. And you guys have really stepped up with the accountability factor. And we can pound our fists all we want to, but then people have to really go to work to solve problems. And that's why we thought it would be so nice for you to share that with our group. We know it's never perfect. Every day is a whole bunch of people driving in the traffic of a very busy and growing city, which is so complex. If you've ever sat behind the wheel, as I've said, it's a pretty daunting view of the road in those big buses with children sitting behind you. And so the responsibility is immense. So we're looking forward to next year, appreciate the work with the technology itself. They went through lots of training and retraining, and then you bring on new people and they have to be trained, so just constant work. So good job, and thank you to your people, and thanks for being willing to come tonight and share all of this good news.
Thank you.
It should have been the good news report. Good. Thank you. All right, with that, can I get a motion and a second to approve the school busing update?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. On to public hearing.
Good evening. I have a couple of waivers to present to you tonight. The first is a course equivalency waiver. So students in grades 9 through 12 who take the World Geography, World History, or Government course equivalency exam using a Sioux Falls standardized test and score an 85% or higher are eligible then to earn high school credit. We also have course equivalency exams in Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2, and those are standardized tests written by the South Dakota Department of Education. Again, if students score 85% or higher, then they are eligible for high school credit. So if we submit this waiver and the State Department of Education approves, this waiver would be in effect from July 1st of this year, 2023, through June 30th of 2028.
Thank you. We'll open this up for public hearing. Anyone wishing to address the school board is welcome to come up. Don't see anybody.
Okay.
So we'll close the public hearing, and I will ask for approval in a second to acknowledge the public hearing for the multi-course equivalency exam waiver and direct the administration to pursue the waiver from the South Dakota Department of Education.
So moved.
Second.
I just want to clarify one thing. So we have this waiver now and it's expiring. So this
Correct.
isn't a new thing that we're
Right,
offering.
we're
but-
just
okay.
asking to renew
And how often do we have to ask for that?
every 5 years.
5 years. Okay, thank you. Okay. All right, questions answered. Or any other questions? Okay. All those in favor, did I get a second? And
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. That motion passes. Thank you.
And we have another waiver, which is also asking for a renewal for credit before grade 9 for Spanish 2 and 3. And this waiver pertains to our Spanish immersion students. So students who possess the skills and knowledge can earn credit for Spanish 2 by earning 85% or higher on the Spanish 2 exam. And then students are eligible to earn credit for Spanish 3 by scoring a 4 or higher on the Avant STAMP, Standardized Language Proficiency Exam. And again, this waiver would go into effect this July 1st and be effective through June 30th of 2028.
Thank you. Any questions? All right, we will open it up for public hearing. Anyone wishing to address the board on this topic can come up and speak now. Seeing none, we will close the hearing. Can I get a motion and a second to acknowledge the public hearing for credit for Spanish 2 and or credit of Spanish 3 before grade 9?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
That motion passes. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would just like to add, I just think it's so awesome you have these opportunities for middle schoolers. So they can even take more classes in high school.
Right.
definitely opens them up for opportunities, more opportunities in high school to explore other topics or to pursue the topic they're interested in. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, we are going to move into executive session per SDCL 1-25-2, parentheses 3. Can I get a motion and a second to move into executive session?
So moved. Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. All right, we will be in executive session. Are we doing that here, Dr. Stavum? Or in the other room? Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody.